People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. And with an introduction like that, what more can be said? People deluded, I'm back again. I got the lads with me apart from Lee. Let's just be thankful Mikel Arteta isn't his boss because he's not on time. But the rest of the lads are here. What you man saying, man?
All good. Can't complain.
In fact, cut the chat. Gunner King, obviously you're here all the time. We've got a new guest. I completely forgot. Matt, let them know your channel, who you are, and all of that good stuff, man, before we carry on, man. You got to introduce guys in the right way, man.
Listen, I'm Matt from Back of the Net podcast. Listen,
make sure you're subscribing.
Seeing what you guys been doing. I'm just here to talk about yesterday's win, innit? Bit nervy, but we did it. we did it, bro.
We did it. So yeah, man, make sure again, all the Mandem stuff is going to be in the description when this video obviously publishes. Make sure you're following everyone. King, what you saying, man? It's been a long time, my friend.
Yeah, been all good, man. Yeah, been a long time, man. It's just been busy on my grind. Yeah, I had to take a bit of time out, but it's good to be back now. Good time to be back. New season, buzzing for it. You know, like all the new players that have come in this summer, I've been excited to see how they started. So yeah, man. I mean, all in all, so far so good.
You said it there, man. Do you know what? I don't know what happened to Matt, but I'm gonna ask you straight off the bat. What have you made of the first 2 games of the season, man? Let's actually start with Forest, innit? Because I haven't had the time to pick your brains on Nottingham Forest.
Well, I think like both games in general, I feel like they haven't been quite, you know, up to the peak standard of how we performed last season. Like I'm always going to look at every game now, and I'm going to look at the games that we played best last season. You know, the win at Anfield, you know, beating Chelsea home and away. You know, sort of, you know, our performances against like the likes of Newcastle, like, you know, even just overall how we performed. And I'm going to be looking at every game and being like, am I seeing the same sort of fluidity, the same level of control? And I don't think we've quite seen that. If I'm being honest, I think like with Forest for about 70 minutes, you know, we seem to have a chokehold on that game. You know, I think we let them come back into it, which I wasn't really expecting, given that we're at home. I can't really ignore that, if I'm being honest. I think we saw the same yesterday, but there was mitigation. Do you know what I mean? The second yellow wasn't a second yellow, and the moment you're down to 10 men, and you're playing away from
half an hour as well.
In Crystal Palace's stadium, which if anyone knows, out of all the London clubs, they've got the goated 12th man. Do you know what I mean?
Tiny as well. It's a close picture on top of the man. It's a nasty place to play, right?
The way their fans G up their players, like, and get behind them, and you know, obviously that's sending up. They sniff blood, so it became a lot harder. So I can understand that. But with the Forest game, I think the last 20-30 minutes, we did kind of like take our foot off the gas. There wasn't that same kind of control and impetus that we had earlier on in the game, and that was a bit concerning. But overall, look, I think the manner of the goals, you know, Martinelli's assist, unbelievable, you know, and there's people out there saying he didn't mean that.
I can't lie. I don't know. I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, man. It looked like he tried to do his man and maybe have a shot himself, but we'll give it to Martinelli anyways, man. He made it happen, innit? Either way, it's there in stone, innit? He obviously did that. I agree with what you said, man. It does feel like we're lacking control. I personally felt over the last year, maybe so much last season, because we ain't got too much to go on. In fact, you could look at the Palace game. It's like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like he was alluding to the 12th man, the fact that we know it's a difficult, traveling to anyone's ground, apart from probably Chelsea based on last season, difficult. But it seems like there's less drama away from home. It seems like at home, we've got a lot of drama. Yes, yesterday, we got a man sent off wrongly or whatever. But it seems like we definitely reacted positively defensively to the Nottingham Forest game and defended a lot more competent. And watching the game again, first time, I'm not going to lie, emotions are high. I was shook. Watching the game again, I did like how Declan Rice came into his own. Benjamin White, I don't think he's giving his flowers. Saliba's obviously a colossal man. Declan Rice, we'll get onto it, had a great game. So I think defensively we were spot on. I still think we need to probably add some more goals to our game. Me personally, I think the 3 goals we've scored this season, listen, it's nice that we can take advantage of people falling off and whatnot, but I don't feel we've really earned them goals. I think we capitalized on a dead ball scenario yesterday. Obviously, Martinelli with a bit of magic keeping a corner alive, and Saka scored a screamer. I still think we need to cut teams open. Obviously, it's only 2 games. I can't waffle too much. Matt, what are you saying for the Crystal Palace game if we move on to that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm in agreement. I feel like I watched them games and I kind of want to see us put teams to the sword. And I think like the whole 1-0 thing, I'm fed up of being nervy in Arsenal games. Like, you know, and when I saw Tommy has to go up, I went, oh, please, no. But listen, credit where it's due. They really, I don't know if you saw that little clip where they're passing and popping it around with 10 men. And I went, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And like Gunnar was saying, it's like the 12th man with Palace, it's that type of pitch. Everything's enclosed. And listen, if they, trust me, it's mad. And if Eze got that pen or they got that pen, whole game would have changed. So I feel I can give us credit for that, but we really need to back up our ideas because we're not going to get away with that for the whole season.
What do you lot make of the system stuff then? Because a lot is being said. Me personally, obviously, there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of potential negatives. There's a lot of teething problems. I think people have called for Arteta to be ruthless. They've asked him to, be unpredictable. They've asked him to drop players. And when he starts doing all of this, rightly or wrongly, fans are up in arms. What do you lot make of the system, man? People have got a lot to say, really and truly.
With me, I think I think he's just trying to fit Havertz in. And it really frustrates me because I look at it and I think Trossard, I love Trossard. Like, I just think there's certain games, just put him in, let him do his thing. But Havertz does bring certain things to the game. I think people are too quick to jump and say, oh, he's crap like it was at Chelsea and stuff like that. He does do things. The only thing with me is I feel like he slows the play down at times. So I get what Arteta's trying to do. But yeah, just the Havertz thing frustrates me because I just think I'm just not seeing it work at the moment. But listen, in time, it might change, but let's see what happens.
Do you know what? That sets up everything perfectly, man. I've offered my opinions about Havertz, man. What do you three? Well, if Lee would hurry up and be part of the platform, what have you lot made of Havertz, man? What did you lot make of the signing? What did you make of him being forced into the lineup? Is he actually playing well or not well? Because it seems like within the fan base, there's hardly any balance with Havertz. And I think, to be fair to the lad, I feel a lot of it is because he's a Chelsea boy. A lot of it is because no one was really saying to sign him in the summer to make our midfield stronger. So, what have you lot made of the 2, better yet, 3 games, because he played against Manchester City? What's your early thoughts, man, on Havertz?
Look, I think I wasn't exactly confused when we signed Havertz. I'll be honest. I wasn't really, for a number of reasons. I don't really like. We've got PTSD from taking Chelsea players. Let's be real. Do you know what I mean? Over the years, we've dropped some howlers. You look at the likes of David Luiz. I mean, we took Czech about 3 years too late, although I'd argue he was decent for us. And I think now, just with how everything is with Chelsea, them falling apart, them spending so much and needing to kind of balance the books with FFP, the way I looked at it is why are we helping them do that? We don't, you know what I mean? We don't need to do that. But I'm also someone that watched Havertz a lot in the German league, play for Leverkusen, and he only really started playing as a false 9. He didn't really do it that much there. He was much more effective in midfield. So I think in terms of our midfield, you know, like we've lost Xhaka because he didn't want to stay. I think on the ball, like his technical ability, like his technical floor, what he can do with the ball, the way he can manipulate it, his passing, his dribbling, all better than Xhaka. It was just like the defensive side of the game. But actually, in both games, it transpires he won the ball back more than any other player in both games.
Yeah.
He won 8 duels in both games. So he's literally won the ball more than, so it's just like, what I like about him is he's not like you have 2 types of pressers, in my opinion. You have those tireless pressers, those guys that will chase everything. You know what I mean? Like they're, you know, sort of like a dog with a bone in its mouth, just chasing everything. You know what I mean? There might not necessarily be intelligence there or good timing of pressing, but they are relentless and they're tireless and they're kind of rewarded for their hard work. Havertz is more languid. Do you know what I mean? He's never going to be that tireless kind of worker. But what he's very good at is he seems to time when he presses really well. Like he's more of what
makes a lot of tactical fouls as well. I've got time for him in that regard.
He's an intelligent presser. That's what I call him. Do you know what I mean? Where he relies more on anticipation than that sort of work ethic. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't work harder to press. I think that's what, you know, he's going to need to improve, and what I want to see more in the way that he presses. But I think a lot of people, like, I just think, to be honest, like, if you're an attacking midfielder and you don't get a goal or an assist, people don't see your value, and it's very boring. Like,
that's the day and age we live in. You're right, man.
If you watch, like, sort of, he created 2 chances again yesterday. If you watch sort of like the space,
90 seconds, he should have had an assist for Martinelli, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and if you watch the spaces he takes up and the space that creates for other players, like, I feel like the untrained eye doesn't see these things and doesn't register it as value. Do you get what I mean? Like, and
you're right.
And this is what we need to really change about the perception of how football is played. But that's not to say I don't want to see more from him, and I do want to see more end product, obviously. You know, he took a very good goal in pre-season, where I think players like Saka and Odegaard, when they clip balls into the back post, I think he can be that guy that can receive the ball in you know, sort of, you know, finish from there and sort of utilize his height a bit more, and that's something we don't really have. But I think his performances haven't been as bad as people were making out, but there's definitely room for improvement. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right with that, man. I think you're right. So what do you think Havertz? Do you think Havertz will ever come good, Lee? I know you're someone who doesn't sit on the fence, man. I'm interested to know your thoughts on Kai Havertz, what we've seen so far.
Listen, man, shout out to everyone on the panel. I feel there's a lot of ESR loving, so, you know, I had to come on and, you know, tell the truth.
Okay, we're doing that today, man.
Like, I know you 3 man, yeah, I don't know what you man are on, but yeah, listen, man, shout out.
All right, cool, we're doing that.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel there's a lot of scapegoating for Havertz, bro. I'll be honest. I feel there's a lot.
I think all 4 of us kind of agree with that to a degree.
I can't believe what I'm saying, but I thought yesterday he was good. I actually think he was good when he went to the number 9 role. You know, when he went there for Nketiah, he was trying to hold the ball up. They were hoofing the ball up there. So I think, look, I'm not going to say it was a master performance, but I do think that I don't even know if he needs to do more, because I just feel like the team weren't functioning. And listen, I'm actually going to put a lot of stick on the likes of the manager. I don't feel like he's getting the best out of him, because, you know, you've got a player who links up, but you've got a number 9 who doesn't link up in Nketiah. So for me,
I think that's harsh on Eddie now, you know. I think that's very. I think you're harsh on Eddie now, you know. I can't lie. I think you're being harsh on Eddie now, you know. He's really improved, in my opinion, at that.
No, it's probably not. No. It's not his standout attribute, is it?
Yeah, it's not a Jesus thing. But, like, I think Eddie's just missing goals now, if I'm honest with you.
I think he might have improved, but let's be fair. Like, what's the improvement from where to where? Like, from 0 to 1, from 1 to 6.
I swear he's got 16 starts, 14 goals, man. Shameless.
Listen. You know what? Every broken clock is twice a day, and listen, he's getting the goal, so fair play. But you look at the overall play of the team. I just don't see it. That's just me. Look, but I don't. This isn't about Nketiah. We're talking more about Havertz, and I do think that he's not been as bad as people are making out to be. I know a lot of people saying he's lazy, and I haven't seen it. And you know what? Fair play to him. The thing I like about him is I don't know. There's something about him. I'm like, you know what? I feel like he's buying into what we're trying to do. I don't think he's all the way there with it, but I do see more than what I'm seeing for Chelsea. So yeah, look, Chelsea fans are going to be like, oh yeah, he's putting pressure on, he's running around, But I don't know, man. I think that he's doing a lot better than what people are making out. But can we have? Are there better options? Of course, there are better options than Martinelli. There are better options than Saka in the world. But you're not always going to get them. So
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. That's looking like a top 5 right winger to me, but I can't lie to you.
There you go.
I can't lie. I don't know.
That's what you're saying. There are better options there, but I just feel like people are fully scapegoating him, and I'm just a bit like, yeah, look, let's just try and see it for what it is right now. I see a player that's doing better than what people are kind of giving him the sort of stick for. But listen, man, people are never gonna warm to him because ultimately they can't see what Arteta's doing. I can't see what Arteta's doing either. But I just think the player alone, he's not doing this bad. And as Gunner King said, sometimes if you don't get the numbers, you look bummy. I think he's suffering with that.
That's the thing about Havertz. I think he's fitting in, but I don't think he stood out. And I'm not, whether I rate him or not, like I was not saying to sign him. I can see what Arteta is doing with him. I just selfishly look at, if we want to go as far as we can in the champs, if we want to get closer to City right now, does Havertz kind of close them yards? I would say no. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You touched on it, and many people keep saying it. Where you lot with Havertz, Kai Havertz being labelled greedy, not greedy, lazy. Because personally, I don't see it. I think, as Gunner King said, when he's up there for the jewels, I don't want to praise a man for running around and working hard and tackling, because you should be doing that. But I don't think he's lazy. And I don't think he's like Mesut Ozil, but it seems to be like that Mesut Ozil stuff again, because a man's not just flying into tackles. There's issues, especially if people watch that second half again, really. Where you look at with Havertz being labelled as lazy?
I personally think it comes from like it's like players like, I don't know, when they've got more of a languid running style, do you know what I mean? Like where it's like, and also when you're like, because Havertz is a very, very technical player. Do you know what I mean? Like he has very, very, very
link up and forward runs and all of that, and late runs into the box and that.
And the thing, like when you have like a high level of tech and IQ, you leverage it more than your athletic attributes. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so to describe that, like if you're intuitively knowing where the ball's going and you have a sense positionally, you don't need to run around like a headless chicken, because you're figuring things out in your head. Do you know what I mean? I think on the eye, like aesthetically, you can look at a player like that and think they're lazy. Like, and I think that in itself is lazy. Like, I think it is. I think you need to judge players on not like necessarily what is obvious. And the thing is, what was obvious is when we went down to 10 men, I think Lee pointed out, he was there up front on his own. He was chasing lost causes.
Putting a shift.
He was putting in shift. He was holding up the ball. He was holding players off. He was trying to win the ball back. He was winning a lot of duels high up in the final third. What does that do? That takes pressure off your midfielders and your defenders. Do you think those midfielders and defenders thought he was lazy when he was doing this?
True.
I don't think they did. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is, I think.
Do you know what as well? Do you know what I'm gonna say as well? Because you literally said something and it made me think of something. I don't think the team fully trust him, because he's not getting all the touches and opportunities and getting played in all the time. And I think I don't know, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it just made me think, you know what? The team needs to trust him.
I'm sure he got vexed at Eddie for not passing it to him against Palace as well, He did
twice. And again, you know what? Give credit to Eddie. Bro, he's a gunman. Like, you can't get mad at man if you don't pass the ball. That's his thing. He's in the box. Like,
true.
Think for me, I'm not gonna. I think Gunner, can you carry on? But it's just, I do think the team aren't trusting him, so he's not getting as involved because he's actually not receiving the ball as much because the team aren't,
still probably adapting as well. To be fair to you,
yeah. Sorry, Gunny.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. I think. Listen, I watched him play a lot for Leverkusen. I watched a lot of German football, and listen, he was unreal there. Like, not my words. Like, sort of people in the footballing circles in Germany were calling him generation, and they were doing that for a reason. Like his last season, he got 17 goals there. And he wasn't even playing as a striker.
Well, like, he get them in Arsenal colours. I can't cap to you, man.
Definitely got quality. Like I've always said. Like, even when he was at Chelsea, I never said he was a bad player. What I said was he played bad for Chelsea. And because, like, I just feel Chelsea, like, if I looked at it, and the thing is, Pulisic hasn't delivered. Havertz hasn't delivered.
Hella players struggle.
Mount, they've fallen off. Like, Lukaku hasn't performed. I could sit here and go for days, and let's be real. Since they've had Diego Costa, when have they had a good striker? Like, you need a striker to help you as an attacking midfielder, because if you're creating chances for someone that can't hit that's going to make you look bad, right? That's going to reflect on you. Even though you're creating the chances, no one will remember the big chances or the chances you created. They'll just remember that it didn't lead to a goal, so it didn't mean anything. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Like, but this is the thing. He's played in a dysfunctional Chelsea for years, and last year they had the season that they did. His confidence is completely shot. It's shot to bits, and for me, I just think he needs to get that back. He'll build his confidence up, and our system's very complex, and it's going through a bit of flux now with him going in there and Rice going in there, and I just think I want to judge him when he's had enough time to be up to speed with these things.
So how long is enough time? Because you kind of alluding to what I'm going into. Obviously, time is a social construct. We never know. But I'll give Havertz all the time in the world, more so because I kind of trust Arteta. I don't trust anyone blindly, but I trust Arteta, and he's shown he can make difficult decisions. But let's just say we're still saying the same things about Havertz in December, in February, and so on and so forth. And as you know, we need to get closer to City. Again, it's finally looking positive at the club. At what point does Arteta have to consider dropping Havertz? Because some would say we've arguably changed our system. Gabriel's been a casualty of that. Some would say our best midfield trio is probably Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, even though we know it's probably at some point going to be Rice at the base or at the base of a diamond and some rotating eight. So how long do we persist with Havertz for you lot?
Half a season, I think. For me, anyway, half a season. Give him a bit of time. Because as we're saying, I feel like he is it's the whole Chelsea thing. Oh, he did this at Chelsea. And like Gunner said, it's the language style. While I can see why people look and be like, oh, the guy's not doing anything. But when you watch the games deeply, he is effective. And like Lee said, they don't trust him. You can see it. Been vexed at Eddie a few times now. So it's just one of them things. I feel like
don't trust you. You're in a very bad place at the moment right now. I can't lie. Big up Eddie.
Hold on. No. Hold on. So ESR gets 10 years. Gets another 10 years.
Yeah. Are we forgetting? All right, go ahead. You talk first. Go on. I don't know what Smith Rowe's doing. He's chilling. He's chilling. Go on. Say what you're saying. Say what you're saying.
It's coming.
Smith Rowe stole your girl, man. Because you're on him. You're on him. No. Go on with Smith Rowe.
You see me? I like to just, I'm just saying 6 months when I'm seeing certain man go on loan 2 times and come. Listen,
Yeah. Are we forgetting the double figures Smith Rowe did for this club? We forgetting what he did to De Gea. We forgetting all the big games. He's our number 10. He saved our bacon. Let's not forget Boxing Day period.
One of them the Champions League winner. So surely he should get enough grace, right?
And man still don't rate, don't he? Like, what do you mean? Like, that's dead, man. Smith Rowe, listen, he's the guy.
I don't really.
Hold on. I'm just saying, right? If certain man, my guy Matt, and
Smith Rowe's earned the credit, surely.
No, that's what I'm saying. All right, so if Smith Rowe's earned the credit for 6 months, then why? Sorry, for 3-4 years. Then why is it that Havertz only gets 6 months?
No, I'm just saying because Havertz could very well join Smith Rowe on the bench for all I care. I'm just saying, like, Smith Rowe's not starting. You're moving like Smith Rowe starting.
All right, cool.
Like, what Smith Rowe did?
I want to know, like,
how is he resting? He didn't play yesterday.
Why Wait, Gunner King, hold on, Gunner King. You're equalizer here. Can you see my point?
Well, we all see your point, but you're talking like Smith Rowe started. He didn't play, fam.
Personally, I was going to say a season.
You have to draw for statistics still.
Thank you.
I never.
Season.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be like. Oh, listen, I can't. It doesn't sit right with me when you judge someone like in their first season. Like
this guy, man.
I mean, look at Grealish. Grealish is a great example, right? Do you know what I mean? Like it took him a minute, bro, but he's up to speed now. You know, I think we got to be patient with Havertz, if I'm honest. But the good thing is, you know, we're mentioning Smith Rowe now. You've got Fabio Vieira, you've got Odegaard. We got plenty of options, bro. And I think yeah, we got good options. Good options there. We got options of using Odegaard we got options of using Rice and Partey as well as a two. So we only need to use one. So I'm being really patient with Havertz because for me, like the what he's come from is dirt in terms of just I'm not like in terms of just because I hate Chelsea, but I mean in terms of like their midfield for the last 18 months, ever since Kante got injured and couldn't maintain his fitness, became completely dysfunctional. So I can't really, you know, a lot of people, another thing that people do in this modern age, right, is they will always put that on the player. They will never sort of give players grace and be like, well, they're in a system that's dysfunctional. So how can you expect them to perform, you know, when they're being mismanaged? Their managers are constantly changing, the systems are constantly changing, and not one of them can seem to find a cohesive system that brings out the best out of them or a number of other players around them that their role is dependent on. So, I think Havertz needs to get all of that out of his system, and that's going to take a while, man. It's going to take a while, but the thing is, I'm seeing these comments, man, and I don't know if people are like actually watching him play. Like, I genuinely just people are running their agenda on him, bro. Like, it's just a bit embarrassing, if I'm being honest. Like, because no way is he as bad as what I'm like hearing and seeing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, I still think he can improve, no doubt, but he's not been anywhere.
All right, so what's his best position for you? Look, what's Havertz's best position? Because Arteta keeps talking about him being a midfielder, but he's not shied away from playing him up front. What is his best position? And to kind of go back to what I said, what I mean by you can give the man all the time in the world, but reality is we need to get 3 points every week. At what point does Arteta say, do you know what, Havertz? Not that you're playing bad. Do you come out of the side just for now? Maybe come off the bench, etc. And then bring in someone like Smith Rowe who got double figures and showed in big games he can do this and carry the team and wearing the number 10 for the club and all of these things and getting capped by England and all of these great things that Smith Rowe's displayed himself to do. Like,
that's crazy, man. How old is Wait, hold on. I just clocked. How old is
24, 24, something like that.
He's 24.
He must be like 24. Yeah.
No, not Havertz. How old is
23. 23,
bro. 23. How old is Havertz? How old is Havertz?
24. But you've been about for time. People said generational talent. I'm gonna have more. Nobody said that about Smith Rowe. They said Havertz generational talent. Next Messi Ozil, as you said yourself, he's a Champions League winner. Surely we have to hold him to higher expectations than our academy lad.
DG, bro. DG, just needs to stop now.
We've changed our system for Havertz. We've changed it. Someone said shoehorning him,
bro. A man is 23 years old and you're still nah.
Bro, yeah, like Wenger said, this is when you now start to become a footballer. This is when you now start to do your job.
Bro, this guy, yeah, it reminds me of what's his name? Keenan and Kel. Home of the good burger. Can I take a good burger? Bro, come on, man.
I can't what? Let's get to the bottom of this. Why don't you rate Smith Rowe? What is he seriously? Why don't you rate Smith Rowe? Out of all the guys to come for in this team, why are you so onto Smith Rowe?
In honor of my people, Keenan and Kel, that is classic. If you don't know, go get to know. Good burger too.
Watch when he does the rotating 8 roll. He's gonna go. Don't sleep on him,
movie, bro. He should be the staple of that movie, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. You're talking about this guy like he's just come out of his diapers, bro. The guy, yeah, I'm sick.
He's form is temporary, class is permanent. He had a big injury, man. Just getting his confidence back, 23.
Man. He's 23. Football.
He'll come good. He'll come good.
He'll come good, man. He'll come. He already is good. There's no coming good. He already is
good.
That's true. He's already good. He's
Haters will hate it.
Dennis Bergkamp, man. Come on, you don't just get that for no reason.
Today, man.
Big haters will hate it.
Come on. I just thought to come on screen, bro. I don't want to hear your thought.
No, but why are you still
Dennis
on to Smith
Bergkamp.
Rowe? Like, watch when he gets his chance. You not see the rotating eights that he's cooking. Why acting like Smith Rowe didn't look good in pre-season as well? He's cooking, man. He's coming soon. He's coming back.
Playing under 20. Yeah, he will slow cook because he's in the good burger in the factory, bro. That's why, man. Come on, man. Let's not do that, bro.
I got more faith in Smith Rowe than Havertz. Man, Havertz, you have to catch strays, man. I defend my guys.
You see my team, right? You see my team. We have to keep the same energy. Everybody wants Tierney now out. Why? Because we've gone above him. Everybody wants Jorginho now. Why? Because we've gone above him. Look at people talking about, oh, Partey. Yeah, you know what? Last season he was
but then people doing the Partey thing, they're overdoing it. If no one better than Partey is coming in, the man has to stay. As simple as that. And Jorginho's okay in the role he plays.
My point is that everybody, when it comes down to other players, yeah, we can go past them. They're injury prone, but they're good. When it's ESR, bro, this guy gets, he's not fit. The manager don't like him.
Bro, he's been playing with an injury since 18. He just had proper surgery. He's now being managed. Come on, man. You can't disregard these things.
Do we offer the same excuses to Pepe? I just want to know. Do we offer the same?
You know me. I've never been a harsh critic of Pepe. I wouldn't mind Pepe being in the squad, but Arteta don't want him so safe.
It's not me talking about to anyone personally.
Actually, I was talking about we need other right backs for Pepe. I was cutting him the world of excuses to a degree.
I'm just saying. We as Arsenal fans, we don't give no one else. We don't give no one else like these chances other than ESR. ESR gets away with murder, bro. And you know what? You're talking about all of this Havertz stuff, bro. ESR took the number 10. He took that knowing that I want to be a certain level. I want to push myself to a certain level.
Yeah, elite mentality. Sort of thing that Arteta wants at the club.
No, okay, cool, but he's gone no. Okay, fine, but he's falling well short from that. So what are we saying now then? What?
Nah, bro. Listen, because he's been injured. When he was fit, he was getting called up for England, and he was lit. Like he's been injured, bro.
I saw Eze yesterday. Shout out to Rich. I rang Rich literally about 2-3 hours ago. From Football. Shout out, bro. I was saying, listen, what I saw from Eze, he is 10 times the players ESR could ever be.
Eze only looked better. He only looked half decent when there was 10 players on the pitch from us. Allow it, man.
Come on, man.
Living ballerina, diving in that. Forget Eze, man. He's meaty. You're not gonna join it. You're not gonna join Elise and them, man, when they go do lit things. Forget Eze. There's a reason we released you. Anything to defend Smith, bro.
That's an agenda.
You know what? He's meaty. He couldn't even pass the ball 5 yards. Maybe if he cut his hair, he would see things. He's meaty, man. He's not on what Smith Rowe's on, man. Allow it. You're one cat on the line, man. Don't hear about Eze. He's dead, bro. Eze is dead, man. Forget Eze.
Rick, you see, Rick, I want you to know, look, I'm trying to stick up for your boy and look at he's doing here. But
Eze's lit, but you can't
Eze's a baller, man. Eze's a baller, but no,
he's a baller, but meaty.
I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. For me, honestly,
it's a Haaland thing, bro.
He's a Haaland boy, bro.
Like, that's the thing. Like, that some people like it carry stock because I want that in the dressing room. I want that like people in the dressing room that can maintain our identity of like who we are. Like, do you know what I mean? Our history, our tradition.
Certain man on the panel for forgotten this sort of stuff.
Like, for me, I look at Smith Rowe and I look at Saka. That's it. For me, I feel like they've grown together. You know what I mean? They come up together. They were there on the come up together. And Smith Rowe showed me a level, bro. Like, I was watching this guy. I think the first game I watched him, was we played Blackpool in a cup game. He got a little run out. I was like, who's this guy, man? Been following his career ever since. Yeah.
Hello.
So I was like, I want to see this guy succeed. And I've seen past a few things with his injury.
Do you want Gibbs back as well? Because he came from Haaland as well, you know.
Nah, Gibbs is media, like. You're actually like Smith Rowe's not lit, though.
He's lit,
bro. Smith Rowe, yeah. I think.
To be fair, Gibbs that left back won't be back. We ain't got many others.
Wait, hold on. London King, I'm gonna get you here. You wanted Nelson gone.
Oh boy.
You wanted don't freeze now. You
Can't lie,
wanted
Nelson's a peripheral figure, but he's Haaland, so hail him up, man.
The thing is, look, I'll
We
big him
know
up
Smith
for it,
Rowe's
but
best position. I don't know if we know Havertz's. That's all I know.
Come on,
We know what Smith Rowe's on. I don't know if we know Havertz.
Gunner King.
Man, they're talking about, there's an agenda for Havertz, but Smith Rowe scoring goals on him.
Gunner King.
Lee's pulling up Gunner King though. Lee's pulling up.
Remember who came off the bench against Bournemouth and helped us get an assist and get back in the game, you know?
Answer for your crimes.
Yep.
Answer for your crimes. You
all right, so Nelson had way more. Nelson's had way more chances, and he's had way more consistent injury issues. He has, you know what I mean? Like
I like Nelson, but you're not the guy.
Like him, don't get me wrong. I think last season he won me over a lot. You know what I mean? But for me, I think in that role, in those 8 positions, I do want to see both Havertz and ESR kind of definitely kind of taking up that left.
100% a rotating 8. I know Smith Rowe is. I know Smith Rowe can play 10. I hear certain youths are strikers, wingers, all these things.
No,
I don't know for Havertz. I know for Smith Rowe.
Havertz is an 8 or a 10, and so is Smith Rowe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's differences and nuances between what they do to be effective in that role. But if you're asking me what I feel their natural position is, they're both 8/10s.
Yeah, banter aside, yeah, 100%. 100%. And the thing I like about Havertz, the one thing I like about him the most is something that obviously I want to see him do more, but he understands game management. You see him making tactical fouls. You see like a lot of yellow card kind of challenges. I like that about Havertz. He's on the dark arts. Big up eagle-eyed football, but I don't know about if Ward pocketed Martinelli because I see Tomiyasu winning corners, and I also know Martinelli took a free kick and it led to a penalty. I don't know what you call pocketing, but I know we ran away with 3 points, man. Have fun trying to buy a striker though, man. But yeah, go on, lads. I don't know for Crystal Palace. Eagles, Eagles got dealt with. Cool pest control, lad.
The Eagle thought Atlantic, bro.
All this atmosphere hype about Selhurst Park a lot, man.
I've been trying to come for my help for my guy Rich, but you know these man here, they got something for you, bro.
Nah, big him up, man. Oh man, what else was I going to ask you lot? Yeah, again, I think a question that's gone over everything. What do you lot make of Partey in that inverted role? Because a lot of noise has been made. Personally, I think it's worked. I think it worked better against Crystal Palace than Forest, where the conditions were probably going to be tougher against Palace. And I feel a lot's being made of it because we always have defensive numbers. And Partey's still running into midfield. If you look at actually the game, he's still running in midfield, and him and Benjamin White are governing it perfectly. So I don't think it's that deep for now. Obviously, I want to see him play centre mid. What have you lot made of Arteta's persistence with that?
No, I agree. I feel like, the Forest game, I feel like, yeah, because I think it was his fault, not his fault, but his side, didn't it, when Elanga bombed on and ran on and assisted Awonyu. So that one I was a bit unsure. But I think against Palace, like you said, he was in midfield. I was watching it, so I was thinking, like, he weren't just like staying at right back, passing it and going back. He was literally doing his role. And listen, I think I was one of them that was like, all right, cool, if you can get the money for him, sell him. But after watching his last performances, I'm like, you know what? I take back what I was thinking.
I can't lie, why? Not that you're wrong, but why? Because I don't understand that. Why though?
Do you know what it was? Okay, I don't want to get into the politics and all of this, whatever was going on. All that stuff. But in general, I just thought, okay, Rice now. But then I started thinking, boy, if we get rid of him, who are we going to bring in to replace him, number one? And I wouldn't trust Arsenal because they'll say, oh, we could put Lokonga in or one of them other ones. So I was like, do you know, because there was links with Lavia, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, there was Lavia, Caicedo, Declan Rice were the guys in the summer before obviously we saw what happened. You're right. Caicedo
was the only one I was going to accept if Partey went. That was the only one. When I heard he was going to Chelsea,
that's fair in my opinion.
When I heard Chelsea, I forget about it. Like, he's so important to us. We've seen it. And now adding Rice to that, listen, it's a phenomenal thing. And he did it at Atletico as well. I think he's played that position as well.
Yeah, he's done it
right back there as well. So listen, I think he was great yesterday. But I don't know if as the season goes on whether Arteta will stick with that. I think as it goes on, I think we'll see White go back there. That's my personal opinion anyway.
Do you not think we're strong enough in midfield? Go on.
I think at the moment, like a lot of people are harping on about it, but they're not really giving another player Declan Rice support because
save the right. Wait, listen, Rice is gonna get his segment, man. Don't worry. We're gonna talk about Rice.
in terms of explaining it, yeah, like our 6 role is very tailored. It's very bespoke. Do you know what I mean?
Very
Like,
multifunctional.
like exactly. A 6 in most people's system is someone who sits in front of their back 4, mops up in front of defense, makes a 5-yard pass to another midfielder who then kind of is tasked with the next part of build-up phases.
Man can't defend.
You know
They give away penalties away from home. But that weren't Declan Rice, though. I don't know who them guys were.
That's none of our business, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, like I feel with Partey and Rodri, what they've kind of brought to the table is you can see this role almost changing before our eyes. Do you know what I mean? Where you know, like where 6s now are, you know, there's a lot more playmaking to it. There's sort of box to box elements where it's kind of taking elements from different midfield roles and encompassing it within an all-encompassing 6 role. When you watch Partey play, Partey's bursting forward, he's carrying the ball in midfield. He's, you know, he can spray a pass, he can spray diagonals, he can play these short little 1-2 interchanges and kind of move into space and pop. He can get shots off from outside the box. He can do a lot of things. But the thing is, you know, defensively, he can cover the big spaces. You know, he can cover the wide spaces because he's got that mobility and that strength and that athleticism. Basically, they got a bit of everything. Yeah, and I think Rice has got that, but the gravitas to step into those shoes, he ain't got that yet. So I think this inverted role, what it does here is it allows Partey to come in midfield next to him, and it's almost like it's a chaperone. Yeah, it's a chaperoning job. Do you know what I mean? Where he's kind of like, you know, kind of walking him through. It's like a handover. Do you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like, he's giving him his final bit of training to show him this is what it is to play a 6 in our system. You got so many responsibilities, so many different roles, so many different fires that you got to put out.
Arteta was even saying with Rice, he needs to work on standing still a lot in contrast to what he does at West Ham. So yeah, he's going through a bit of a culture shock himself, and he's doing all right. You lot saw he bossed it yesterday.
I think this inverted role in the short term is a means to helping him settle. And I think once it's like I was explaining this on the Twitter space the other day. I feel like him playing that inverted role is the equivalent to putting Rice on a bike with stabilizers on it. Yeah. Partey inverted into that midfield is the stabilizers. Yeah. And once you're ready, you know what happens when you know the kid's got the balance, you take one stabilizing wheel off, you take the other, next thing you know, they're riding down the road.
Now to ride, innit? Or if you're not, you're gonna drop. Simple.
That's what I think this inverted role is, because Zinchenko has been injured, so he's not inverting there in the midfield. And I think Timber getting injured didn't help either, because you know, like he would have been a guy that would have come in there and help him play the 6 on his ones, or would have allowed Rice to play as the left centre mid and Partey as the 6. So it's had a knock-on effect on our whole shape. Do you know what I mean? And like in terms of what options we have available. So I think in the short term it doesn't bother me at all. Like, but I think a lot of people are making things about it. The thing is that, look, what they're saying is like the arguments I hear is, yeah, but if he gets isolated one-on-one with a winger, he doesn't have the positional sense of a fullback. But the thing is, the whole reason why it works is because our shape turns into a 3 in build-up when we have the ball and the ball passes the halfway line. If you look at the metrics, but how much the ball spends in the opponent's half when an Arsenal game is on, we spend the majority of time camping in the other half. That's a fact. So he spends more time in transition in midfield than he does in our starting position shape.
Fair, he mucked in, man. You're right, because against Crystal Palace towards the end, he mucked in. Partey did very well when we were just trying to see out the game at right back.
The problem with that is they're so easy for teams to do what Nottingham Forest did. One counter attack, one goal, and then squeaky bum time for us. And that's what we don't.
Surely that's for Arteta.
You know, we have to obviously be very clinical. You know, that we have to be very clinical. I think for me, look, I'm not going to lie. I was very upset and very annoyed with that team. I think the first half, if we keep doing that, we're going to waste 45 minutes, because what you're starting to see is you don't get Saka involved in the game. You don't get Martinelli. Martinelli, you might as well just forget about it. He might as well just put his coat back on and go and get on the bus, because he's not part of the game. I see him popping up in centre mid yesterday, like in the first half.
Frustrated. Clearly frustrated.
Frustrated. So I think, again,
Your boy
now
Havertz
I'm
should
not.
have had the
I'm not
assist for Martinelli, though. I won't lie.
He should have. And again, look, what I'm not going to do right now, even though I do think that he is a problem, is I'm not going to pin it all on Eddie. But what I am going to say is I'm not sure if it's because Eddie's playing or it's the actual formation why there's not enough collaborativeness in that front five. For me, I do think it has a part to play with both, with the formation and with Eddie's link-up play. Less to do with Eddie's link-up play and more to do with the formation. I'm really going to pin it on Arteta here. And I think if he does that, he's going to be doing that pet thing, overthinking it, Champions League final, and we're not going to do what we want to do. I think, though, again, to contradict myself, I actually think, going back to Gunnar King's point, we actually dominated that game. And I said to Rich earlier on when I was speaking to him on the phone, they could have been here even today and they still wouldn't have scored. I didn't feel under pressure in that sense, but I did feel him under pressure in the sense of we need to get a goal because we have to win. We can't do what, we did last season where, the end of the season where we're shaky. We have to be
dropping down points unnecessarily. You're right.
We can't drop down points. And it was a game where I didn't feel the pressure from Crystal Palace attacking wise, but in that first half, I think our first shot on target was in the 43rd minute. That ain't good enough. Now, yes, granted, Eddie should have scored 2 goals. So again, caveat that we did make some chances, but I also look at it and I think I don't want to keep wasting first halves. I don't want to do that because all that what would have normally happened is what we did against Nottingham Forest. The joke of it is we bring on the same players and then we go into 4-3-3 anyway. So what's the point? You might as well just play like that and just get the game won. And then if you want to try little things out here and there, you do it. But I think the overall problem is you're getting Havertz in the team. If you want to get Havertz in the team, you've got to play that inverted fullback, and the inverted fullback's got to be Partey.
But the thing is as well, though, right? I think this is another thing, and I think DG touched on this at the beginning of the show. I feel sorry for Arteta a bit because if you ask me, last season, we made less changes to our starting 11 than any other team in the Prem. Yeah, so you could name our starting lineup. Do you know what I mean? You knew who was in goal. It was Ramsdale. Nice. You knew Ben White was right back, Zinchenko left back, Saliba Gabriel. You would have Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, Martinelli, Saka, Jesus. Yeah, if they were fit, that was it. Yeah, and I think there is a danger, and what I've said all along, and what a lot of people were saying was there was no plan B. He's getting found out in certain situations. Where's the variance in play? And
you lock down Zinchenko, isolate Saka, you kind of killed us, really.
Yeah, people started getting alive to isolating Zinchenko, after that Liverpool game, and he obviously had that mistake against Trent. You could see that our left side was getting targeted a lot more, by players being well, he can be got at defensively. And especially when he's inverting into midfield and going forward, if you catch them cold in the middle of a transition and you play the ball in the space, you can be exploited. So I feel now we're at this stage where we I don't think a lot of people are saying, and you guys are alluding to changing our formation because of Havertz. I don't think it's because of Havertz. I think it's because to go to that next level, if you look at Pep, what he's doing.
Arteta said it, you got to be unpredictable, innit?
You get to that stage where you think you found Pep out
these last 2 years.
Out of nowhere, he's putting John Stones in midfield. He's putting Ake at left back to make up for situations where your fullback's isolated. I'm going to put a centre back there who has the acumen to be able to one-on-one defend, and that's going to mark Saka out of the game. He's trying all these different things and it's working. And the thing is, you only notice it when it's working, and you don't notice the part where at the beginning of last season, Man City were poor trying to adapt to playing with Haaland and trying to get into their system certain system adaptations and players coming in. And they go through the growing pains like everyone else. But because they're winning, you don't bring it up. You don't notice it as much. But the thing is, you absolutely, to go to that next level, you need variance to your game. You need other solutions. You need a toolbox that's kind of holistic. You need to be able to go into it and just be right, what tool am I using today for this occasion? because I need this one because it's going to be better suited.
Like you just said there, King, man. Sorry to cut you, but like we've got to be unpredictable. Essentially, I think the only problem for Arteta or just a challenge is, as you said, last season you didn't really have that many options, so you kind of had to get the best out of what you get. Sometimes in life, when you've got so much wealth of options, you can overrule you. So yeah, man, I think you're bang on with that one, really, man. Really and truly.
I think a lot of people need to realize they can't have their cake and eat it, because this wasn't just me saying these things about needing more variance to our game. There was a large consensus within our fan base.
The gaffer himself kept saying it.
You know, that we need to develop new ideas, and to develop new ways of playing, and trying new things and new systems. You know, now he's getting killed for it, and I don't understand it. It's like, well, like, this is what we asked for, and the thing is, in the longer term, it's going to put us in better stead. But there will be a robbing of our fluidity in the short term, with players trying to, sort of get up to speed with these ideas. I had a guy say to me the other day, why don't you just try it in training and then drip feed it into games? Because we will play football, and there's only so much iteration and there's only so much situational training that you can do on a training pitch.
Or you can't replicate match day, especially when things go wrong.
That's it. There's a part in football that you can't learn without actually.
And to be fair, it's worked in the last 2 games, actually.
And I think that's where we are now. And I think people need to just relax a little. Like, it's not to say, I'm not asking people to ignore the fact that we don't look as fluid in our first 2 games as we did in our best games last season, but to understand that there's mitigation there, there's reasoning behind it. Do you know what I mean? Because, we got to the end of last season, we didn't have ideas for Saliba being injured. We didn't have solutions for if
it took Arteta a while to blood Kirill in. Like, that could have been the right time for Kirill, but playing devil's advocate could he have went in a lot sooner for Rob Holding, and where would we have been, man? I agree with you. I think it's a thing where we can't just hide behind the fact that we've got 6 points, the systems work, because that's a sort of problem that saw us when we had the unbeaten run under Unai Emery, where people were looking at the cracks. I think there's reasons to be cautious. There's reasons to be optimistic. I think there's reasons to kind of be a bit cautious. I still think there's players that need to adapt. I mean, I don't think Tomiyasu was as bad as people made out, but as you know, Tomiyasu is a very conservative defender in comparison to what we've got. Naturally, that's going to kill Martinelli. There weren't many balls in behind. Speaking of Crystal Palace, Eagle-Eyed Football, make sure you're subscribing to him. Kind of moving this on. Do you not think Balogun's a goner beyond the obvious? He's been linked with Chelsea today.
Yeah.
And
there you have it.
I'll be honest, it doesn't sit well with me, if I'm being honest. And
him leaving or him potentially going to Chelsea?
Both.
Fair enough.
Both. Because
can I just say though, I've heard some not great things about him behind the scene. Like, you know what? I'll be honest with you as well. Some of the stuff I've seen, okay, look, you don't have to believe everything you hear behind the scenes if you know people there, but the Instagram stuff, I just ain't got time for people.
I mean, let's be honest, Balogun's a Bedino. Let's be honest, he's a Bedino. He's a bit of an attention. Let's be honest. Let's be.
And you know what? It's always, we always laugh when we think about like people like Mudryk when he was off in panty for Arsenal. But what about the Shakhtar fans? What did they think about what he was doing? Like, and now when I'm looking at it from our foot, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, I don't feel it. Like, and when you're doing it to like in the Inter Milans, and then you're gonna start doing this whole Chelsea thing, like, you ain't loyal. Like, and that's the whole thing with Caicedo. Listen, everybody and their man knows and their dog knows I wanted Caicedo. But I also can see, you know what, there would have been a problem because he just wants to go to anywhere. And when Roma just start calling, he's gonna want to go there. So, and you know, even Shat, I think Matt that was saying that, like, so I don't want to steal his shine, but that's just where I am with it. Like, I'm a bit like, when I think about Balogun, listen, the guy looks like he's got quality, but 21 goals in the French league, and Lacazette's not far behind you in goals.
7 for pens as well, not to take that away, because still penalties are still goals.
I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him as a person. The way that Arsenal's unity in the squad right now, I'm not in the squad, but I just see certain things, and I'm like, you know what? You ain't done shit, bro. You ain't done nothing. You ain't no made man. You ain't that guy. Like, so just calm down. Listen, and you know what? I can cost ESR to the day I die for the way that he moves and the way he acts on the pitch and what he does or doesn't do. But he went on 2 loans. He came back. He's held bench. He ain't said nothing, and he's still here trying to push forward. Eddie Nketiah, he's gone on. Has he gone alone? He hasn't gone alone.
He went Leeds a few years ago, and then came back in the January.
He went alone for 6 months, came back, didn't get to play all the games. You saw in the documentary, he had to get onto Lukonga because he was acting like a little girl. Well, actually, no, he was acting like a little kid. So for me, look, I'm just out here thinking to myself, obviously not, but all jokes aside, I'm not being sexist. So if anyone takes that offensive,
listen, come on, people, it's not that thing. Come on, we definitely love it.
But
come on,
but for me, look, I really do think to myself, like, I ain't feeling it. I don't know about you lot, but listen, he can.
Do you know what it is? I look at me personally. I look at it in two ways. I somewhat admire the fact of he wants to sign himself and go make it and do what he wants. I agree with you with the social media. I agree with you, for example, leave what he's doing on social media, but the flip side of that is he might not mean it like that, but it's how it's portrayed. And I think he does like the game playing. I look back to a couple of years ago, the first time he was going to leave. I admire the fact that he wants to get out of his comfort zone, because there's many players you could argue Eddie and Nelson might be a lot better had they have jumped ship and gone and played consistently. I like the fact that there's no romance behind it. I do think he's got a high ceiling. I do think he's a good player. I would like him to be integrated. I just think our hands are forced because he said, I'm not going on loan. He don't want to sign a new deal. I think he's overrated as well. And what I mean by that is I think he's a quality player. I just think he's being put on a pedestal by some Arsenal fans that he can't inevitably fill. He scored them goals, take nothing away from it, but you've done it in 1 year. I don't know if you can do it again. And where the other things that Arteta demands of a striker, currently, you don't have that because you haven't been exposed to that as much. And I think Arsenal are probably looking at it as, you know what, he's not in the plans. Hey, Len, we want players to go into the first team. If not, let's make some money. And I think that's just that where Balogun's concerned. Hopefully it don't come to haunt us. I'd prefer him not to go to Chelsea, of course. But at the end of the day, you're going to go to who puts down the most cash, really. And that's somewhat, I feel like, again, I don't think he owes us any loyalty. When I look at it without my Arsenal fan badge, you don't owe us a damn thing. You need to go and do what you need to do in your career. Let's just assume you stayed at the club at 35 years of age. You're going to get a little handshake and that's it. So do what you want to do, but just make sure it's the right thing, man.
For me, I'm all gravy, providing I feel like Willock, I didn't want him to go, but I felt like he had chances in the first team to showcase his ability. Do you know what I mean? Like I look at Nketiah now, I personally, I feel like he's had a lot of opportunities in the first team, maybe not like consecutive runs, like not a lot of games where he's played back to back for more than say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. But he certainly had minutes. Do you know what I mean? I look at Smith Rowe, he's had some minutes, you know what I mean? Like obviously the injuries come in, you know what I mean? I look at Balogun and I'm like, you've gone and had the season that you've had. Yeah. And like we're not even giving him a chance, like, like that just doesn't sit right with me. Like
I think Arteta made his mind up a long time ago on Balogun, man.
I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans are like, oh, but he's got this attitude where he's demanding that he plays. I mean, let's be real. That was his first full season in men's football, right? Like he's been playing under 23 football up until that point. He goes and
had the and it didn't really work out.
Okay, he took 7 penalties, yeah, but let's not take away. He scored 21 league goals in a competitive European league in his first full season in men's football. Yeah, so like this guy isn't like people are like, oh yeah, he's coming and he's talking about if I'm not going to play first team football, then what's the point? But let's be honest. Look, for me, I like the confidence because I'm like,
I like it as well.
He's gone out there, he's done his thing. Saliba did the same thing, but Saliba went out there. He had 2 good seasons in the French league. He got in the team of the season than last year. Young French player of the year. And he's come back and he's done exactly the same thing. He stuck it on Arteta. He's come back and he said, you know what? I ain't come back here to sit on no bench. And Arsenal fans were fine with that because Saliba was one of their favourites. Balogun does the same thing. And everyone's losing
but to be fair, though, I look back to this.
The
Saliba comments, Arteta said he aired him on purpose and he reacted. So I think that's a tiny bit inaccurate still.
I'll tell you what, there's one thing I can't bear to see. Again, yeah. When you look at these Girouds, when you look at these Ashley Coles, when you look at these players that have gone there and won things, bro, yeah, that's collateral they got on against us. And I don't like it, bro.
No, but that's the thing, though. If we look beyond Balogun's goals, does he do everything else that Arteta demands, though? Because I don't agree with it. I think a striker is born and bred to score goals, but the system has gone past that in football. Jesus isn't the most prolific in our team. Eddie definitely isn't, but they still affect the game. As watching Balogun last season, I don't think his general playing all of them gears are in his game right now. So I could understand why Arteta wants to cast away with him. But I agree with you, King. Obviously, you want Haaland boys to play and things, and you do wish it was different. I agree with you. And fundamentally, if he goes Chelsea, you know, you've seen certain things written in the stars, isn't it? Really, I hope that's not the case, man. Speak.
I can't, like, and that's the thing. Like, if I see that again and put up with that fan base talking that nonsense in my ear again, like, I'm just gonna lose my.
I love beefing them on Twitter.
Innit?
No, the worst one was actually Cole, fam. I love beefing them.
Like 5 million and that prick Gallas.
Most entitled, spoiled, arrogant fan base. I can't stand them, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like the way they talked about us for the last 2 decades, yeah. And now we're in the ascendancy, and I'm throwing it back in their faces. Yeah, and they don't know how to act about it, and it's good because I only just got started. I'm waging a whole war against them, bro. And I swear to God, if another player leaves Arsenal to go there to win a league title or a Champions League, like it's long. It's a long day. It's a long afternoon.
Does it make sense for Balogun to go to Chelsea? Because on the face of it, if they're saying we'll bring you in, and Arsenal not, I understand it. And if they're spending 50 million on you, they brought in a lot of young players, but they spent 50 million on you. You're going to be boost up the hierarchy. You're going to learn under Poch. It's London. It's all of that. But is it realistic that Chelsea are going to give us 50 million? Because again, it is a wild card. He's done it for 1 year. Can he be the guy to pull their club? I don't know if it makes sense.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Everyone else is 50 million. The price for Chelsea's got to be 60. But
wouldn't be a surprise.
They got to slap some more on that. Spurs and Chelsea ruled them out of this, really.
You know what? I just want to say quickly. I think the whole thing with Balogun, I think agree with Lee as well. Like, I've not heard obviously what he's heard, but there's certain things about Balogun. I liked what I saw from him in France, but Lacazette also scored. How many goals was it last season?
20 odd or something like
more than 20 odd, whatever. More than him, yeah.
Lacazette is sprinting and looking like Usain Bolt. It's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Man got the hair back as well and everything. You know the ones, but. Like I just look at it and I think, you know, and then Balogun, the whole thing of who's going to sign for what country, and that whole thing, he come on like he's a superstar, the star boy, and I thought you ain't really done much yet, you know. You could tell, yeah. And then obviously we saw the little video. I'm sure everyone saw a little video on Insta. Don't know if you didn't, you didn't, but there was a little video on Insta. I'm like, he's that type of player. Now I don't know if that's what Arteta kind of wants to bring with what he's got. You know, we had the whole thing. I'm not saying it's Oba levels, but we had the whole thing with Oba when he kind of like wanted the whole community within the squad. So maybe that could be as well. But listen, at the end of the day, if he wants to go, we get good money for him. I don't feel, oh my God, we're going to lose Balogun. Let him do what he wants to do. And if it's Chelsea, whoever, do your business.
That's the thing. The only thing I'd say in Balogun's defense, and I even see it with Eddie, these strikers are a bit dodgy. Like they get better as they get older, as you lot see. And Eddie's now 24. Granted, he should be a lot better. But I wouldn't want to pull the trigger on Balogun so far. If it was up to me, and which is easy for me to say as a fan, he would a long time ago signed a new deal, and you would have gone out alone again. Because I would, if things were different, I don't think there should be a rush to make a decision on his future. Really, you're 22 years of age, but again, various factors have gone against us, man. My last question for you lot before I let you lot get out of it: there has been some rumors. I don't know if it's true about reintegrating Pepe. I've offered all my opinions on Pepe. So, what would you lot saying for bringing him back in the team, especially if we're not going to bring someone else in?
Hell no. Hell no.
Fair enough.
Like, you know what?
Go on, man.
No, I was just going to say quickly, I think we all, I don't know about you lot, I got gassed. Like, when I saw him before he signed in, man did the thing at PSG away, he was doing all this. I said, what?
I told man it was a Manduni signing, man. He had 18 good months. I told man it was 18, man.
I was looking around, come work when we signed in this year, and I thought, wow, this guy, bro. And then I saw a couple of performances, but again, he had that thing where some games he didn't seem interested. But listen, people, we talk about, oh, he's been poor, one of the worst signings. But there's some other stars in the league at the moment that have a worse record than him. That's all I'm saying. I.e. Sancho and them lot. So he did do his thing. He did.
Oh gosh, I didn't even know.
And drop the fan off line. Credit.
You know what? I do want to say, listen. I was on this before I do say anything about the likes of Pepe. I was on this show about 2 months ago. Declan Rice. I'm sorry. Declan.
Hey, see,
finally.
Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Can I wait? Sorry, just quickly. Just quickly before Lee continues. Can I just say one little thing as well, Lee? I remember meeting you at the Arsenal team. You know where I'm going with this. I turned to Lee. I go, Rice, man. I've never seen someone so disappointed. Guy was like, nah, man. And what can I say though?
Tried to tell him, man. Smith Rowe gonna have him back here saying the same thing. Tried to tell him.
The African Gooner, all of you, man.
Nah, I have to rate Lee for saying he got it wrong. Many people can't do that. I'm not doing that if Smith Rowe don't bang at Arsenal. I know that much.
Yesterday's performance.
It
was different, bro. What I saw yesterday, that was. I know it's Crystal Palace and but their midfield is decent and bro, one man wrecking ball. So I'm sorry. There you go, man. Fair play. But you know what? The Pepe thing, I don't know, man. I think sometimes you can have relationships or whatnot, and perfect person for you, but it's just not the right time. You don't go back. You just keep it moving. And I think for both parties, it's best that we just go. I don't understand what he comes back for, but I only think that's the only reason why is because we can't sell him. And I don't think Arsenal want to do this whole because of the image. I don't think Arsenal want to let another player go in terms of terminating the contract. I just don't think they want to do that. So I think they would rather say, you know what? Let's grin and bear him for the season. He can offer something. He can bring something extra to the table. He's not going to get much game time because I think Reece Nelson's above him. I think Jesus will be above him. I think Havertz is above him. Trossard's above him. Martinelli's above him. And
it's just a wild card thing, really.
Yeah. I just think logic says, you know what? Let's just keep him here and reintegrate him. And if someone comes up in the likes of January, I believe he can go straight away, isn't it? In January for free or whatever it is. So if it's a European club,
a move for the summer for free, and it will cut price.
Yeah. So I cannot see any shape or form that Arteta is going to have a U-turn like that because what's changed? He ain't going to have the work rate. He's not
Arteta drew him out. He drew him out with the Nice loan. He was like, when Arteta plays games, he was very specific about Pepe a few weeks ago. He's like, the Nice loan didn't really work out how he wanted it to. We wanted to see a bit more. I think we're done with Pepe personally. If he gets reintegrated, I wish him all the best. But we've been here before. I even looked at yesterday. Saka didn't do too much, but he still affected it. Pepe don't do that.
Yeah. That's the thing. And I was just about to say, I think we know that Arteta, it's not always about the best player because respectfully, Nketiah starts over a certain man. And that just doesn't work. It just doesn't go together. So listen, I think it's just tactical IQ. And I think Nketiah's got that. I think he's got tactical IQ and I think he's got work rate. It's just that basically he's shit. That's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think with Pepe, man, like, oh man, I mean, when he signed for us, I was gassed, but I think now the way that our wide players have evolved, like I keep saying this to Man United fans, like they keep bringing this Rashford talk, like it's better than Saka, and I'm like, the thing is, what do you see when you watch a winger, bro? Like, because a lot of people, again, what I said at the beginning of the show is it's a goals and an assisting, but they don't look at overall play. They don't look at Saka being effective.
They don't look at the impact over 90 minutes, man.
Over 90 minutes, he is breaking like sprints to get to both boxes. He's helping his fullback out. Do you know what I mean? He's cutting inside into midfield. He can hold up the ball a lot better. His delivery of the ball into the box is more effective and more consistent. And his shooting as well is becoming even more like, you can see it almost game on game, like Saka's and Martinelli's improvement in terms of cutting inside and shooting, adding variance now where they're both going on the outside a lot more and using their weaker foot as well in those situations a lot as well. Both of them, they got a lot of weak-footed goals and crosses and assists last season, both of them. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that. I don't see that in Pepe's game enough, and I think for me, I really wanted to see him go this summer. And like his wages as well. He's going to be on
another
a big wage.
You're right. He's like he's on like 140k a week. You can't just let this persist.
A record signing, that's dead money. Do you know what I mean? Someone, Gooner Lee named all the guys that were ahead of him, in the pecking order. You got 140 grand a week just sat on your bench for no reason.
Do you know what I mean? It don't make no sense to me. Like, so, I think he could definitely excel in another league. You don't get, like, the Premier League is unforgiving. You don't get the time, you don't get the space, the intensity is a lot higher.
Anthony, Mudryk, Sancho, or anyone who's been gassed up and failed to do anything really in this Prem thing. I don't know. You're right on that.
And we for me, I just think I really wanted to, like, I got nothing against him. I love him. I'll probably still watch him, when he goes to another club, because he's got wicked footwork. Do you know what I mean? I love players with good footwork that are exciting to watch. Do you know what I mean? In terms of flair, but you need more than flair to be a winger. In our system. In fact, flair isn't exactly necessarily like one of the main prerequisites. You know what I mean? I've seen techier wingers, sort of play for us.
It's like Bukayo Saka. He's obviously eye-catching, but he's not the most eye-catching of wingers. What he is consistent and effective, really, and he knows what he's doing. You're right on that, man.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what the thing is about, effectiveness, and it's about consistency. And I would be concerned, because I really wanted to see someone come in. At the moment, Saka is on his own on that right-hand side. Martinelli knows the moment he drops a poor performance, Trossard is there. Trossard is banging on that manager's door every day. Someone put it in the comments earlier. What does Trossard have to do to get a start? Trossard, from the pre-season to now, we had a friendly against Luton behind closed doors. He got another 2 goals. Trossard, for me, he comes off the bench. I can't think of one time he's come off the bench or started where he's had a poor performance, even if he's not got a goal or assist. He hasn't had any some sort of impact, some sort of influence on the game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And for me, that's got to be the standard, because Martinelli now knows that he has to maintain a level of consistency and go up on that, because the moment he doesn't, Trossard's going to be there. For me, I'm not saying Saka's not got the mindset and the growth mindset and the mentality, but for me at the moment, there's 2 concerns with Saka. No one's competing with him, and I don't like it when a young player, like, for too long isn't being pushed, because I feel like they need that for their development. They need sort of, they need some sort of incentive, some impetus to raise their levels. And I'm not saying Saka doesn't push himself, because he does. Like, I can see he's a very dedicated professional.
That's right, I rate him. He's got every reason to be complacent, and I haven't seen any of that.
No, I haven't. But the other thing as well,
you want someone else there, man.
He's playing too many games, man. And if you notice, last season, me and Lee, we were talking about this. There was a drop-off in the last couple of games. And if you notice, the season before, it's the same thing. My guy's playing 38 games in a season before he's hit 20. Like, of course, and we're going to burn him out, bro. We're going to burn him out. And you look at Jack Wilshere, he was 30 years old in the Championship for Bournemouth, when at 17, he was playing in the new
I'll say you look at how it kind of ended for Rooney and Cesc to a degree with Saka's my only concern, man.
Xavi and Iniesta were talking about Wilshere being the usurper to their throne. At 30, he's in the Championship with Bournemouth. And I have this big concern with Saka, that we are putting too much on his shoulders, to be playing game in, game out. Now we got the Champions League, so last season we had the Europa League. You got the benefit of being able to rotate and rest players, because you're playing against Europa League level competition, like opposition. Yeah. Champions League, you're not going to have that luxury. You're not going to have that luxury. You're going to have people putting pressure on us to go, and if we can't win the league or we can't win the Champions League, go get a domestic cup. Be
interesting if you got a big game on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and equally must win on a Saturday, Sunday.
That's not sustainable for Saka, like, to just be there on his own. 1, not have someone that's pushing him, and 2, not having someone that can come in where the gap isn't massive. It has a left foot as well, because Nelson's
right.
good.
Unfortunately, Nelson and Vieira are not talking to him in that regard. You're right, man.
Changes the dynamic.
He's trying to striker. Jesus might be able to do a thing, but that's all ifs and buts, man.
It's a big. I wanted us to get Diaby, to be honest, and watching him play.
That Newcastle goal, Diaby, finish.
Cooked them, bro. Like, he's been cooking all pre-season as well, man. So I was looking for us to do that, and that's one thing that might disappoint me about this window. But look, overall, we've had a good window, so it is what it is,
Do you know what? Hopefully, with a couple of weeks left, we can obviously do something, whether that's a striker, winger, centre mid. Obviously, with the Timber injury, we might dip back into the market defensively, but we're going to have to see. Man, them as usual, this has always been a great show. Let them know where they can find you lot. If you've got any content to come out or produce any content, where can they find you lot, man?
So obviously with me, listen to my podcast, BOTIN podcast, Back of the Net podcast. Listen, as Lee knows, Saliba's #1 fan. Listen, anyone, Saliba question, come to me. That's my guy. But listen, Back of the Net podcast, guys.
That's
just like,
what you lot saying, man? King, Lee, what you lot on?
Yeah, you'll definitely catch me on AFTV, man. You definitely catch me there pretty much every week doing content with the guys. And yeah, listen, I will be streaming. I've just had life, man. Life's been lifing, but next week I'm promising myself I'm back, man.
That's why he's drawing out Smith Rowe for no reason. See?
yeah. While I do the, you know, the gender against ESR, I've been off socials and that. Yeah, I'm saying I'm off the internet and that. But yeah, no, I'm back. So next week I promise myself. So yeah.
Man, King, when you're not beefing people on socials, you know, let them know they can fight you. But
yeah, man. So yeah, Gunner King 14 on Twitter. You know, I'm posting a lot more on there now. TikTok as well, Gunner King 14. The Armory TV YouTube channel. You know, we're coming up to 1,400 subs now. Pushing for probably 2K by the end of the season. Hopefully, we can kind of keep growing. Obviously, I had to take a bit of a back step. Had like a lot of things with life that was going on, like grievances and stuff. So, but I'm going to be going back on it now. Yeah, like, you know, like I think next week onwards. So yeah, I'll be doing pre-match, post-match analysis on you know, back with my guys on that channel as well. And yeah, like I've been a bit quiet, obviously. So, but yeah, I'm you know, I love this game, man. I ain't going nowhere. So yeah, man. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me on here as well. You know, and yeah, that's where you can find me, basically.
so like you said there, people, if you didn't hear what they said, rewind it again. By the time this video processes, all their information will be in the socials. Lads, one love again for doing this, people. Make sure you're following the man them. Smash, like, subscribe, do that good stuff. For now, people, we're out. One love, everybody, man. Peace.
big up. Big up.
There's always just that active red flag, defenders.
I think it's like